Hello everyone, welcome to the 7th International Uşak Short Film Festival. I'm Seren, a member of the festival, and today I am very privileged to welcome our directors, Robin Klengel and Leonhard Müllner. Welcome, hello, and how are you?
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure for us. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for being here today. Mikael Stumpf, our third director, is not here. And we will have a talk about your film, How to Disappear. It's one of the finalists this year, and you already won so many awards all around the world. I'm not quite sure if you have any space left on your shelf.
For one Turkish prize we have.
We will make space, we will make space.
Okay.
No, it's a great honor. Still, yeah, it's very nice that the film is well recognized and that people can connect to the topic because it's really important to us. So yeah, this is fine. This makes us very happy, of course.
Of course, it makes us happy to win prizes. Yeah.
Yeah. So before I start my questions, a very quick synopsis of your film for our viewers. How to Disappear is an anti-war movie in the true sense of the word, searching for possibilities for peace in the most unlikely place of an online war game. It's a tribute to the disobedience and desertion in both digital and physical real warfare. So I want to start by asking, what exactly did you do individually to put together this project? Because it has so many layers into it.
So yeah, this is true. Yeah, in fact, of course, because for us, of course, there are two kind of interests come together in the film. One is, of course, the interest of working with computer games. This is something that is we do in our collective. Computer games are the main medium which we work with, and it's our enemy and our friend at the same time. So we like video games. We play video games. It's a medium that we find very interesting as a mass medium of our times, which is so influential and which is little discussed, and which it's so important to kind of think about how they work and what you can do with them, and what kind of ideology lies behind this medium, what do they tell apart from their stories. And the interest, of course, is the story of civil disobedience or military disobedience in wars, because when starting this project, we more and more got involved in the topic and more read about it, and the more you read about it, the more interesting it really gets, because it's such a little discussed topic. In school, usually you learn the story of soldiers in war and of the victories and stuff like that, and you never read or hear anything about the people that actually don't want to participate and run away. The story of cowards is never really told. So without this is we can bring these two things together and make a movie that makes some sense, hopefully.
Actually, it's not even cowardice to run away from the battlefield, because in the most times it meant the completely loss of existence or death. So you had to commit to that. You know about that, and war must have been that like unbearable that you fled or that you decide to flee. And our collective, which is a pseudo-Marxist media guerrilla, is working basically, as Robin put it out, with this media. So we are trying to develop some performances or choreographies within this very tight gaming mechanism we find there, and this is then recorded and then like done with a voiceover, and so it became a film in the end. Yeah.
So what came first exactly? The idea of deserters and not them being mentioned, in literature, or not sure if any of you are gamers, but the idea came from the Battlefield game itself.
We are sorry. We are gamers. We love, as Robin put this out. We love to game. It's we embrace this media, but we also hate it in some ways. It suffers from the same problems as mainstream Marvel film or mainstream Cineplex films are basically suffering from, but it also brings a lot of innovation and critique towards society. Yeah.
But it started from the game, so that is true. There was a time when we played these games of the Battlefield series, especially Leonhard and Michael were playing it, and of course we had the idea to work with this game for a long time because it's an interesting social space. It's like 62 people meet to play a game together, and somehow there are interesting social dynamics which you can see happening, but we kind of we had this idea to work to use this topic of people running away from war, of deserters, in this game. So actually the first idea was we started with interventions where we had the plan to read the real stories of deserters to the people that are playing the game. So they would, with the group chat of the game, we would confront them with something that you cannot do in the game, which is running away, but which existed from the beginning of warfare. So the idea was to use this gaming space. We then changed the topic and we kind of started to broaden our research. So it then changed, but it really started actually from trying to intervene into this gaming space and to do something with these landscapes, which we found interesting to think about and to discuss them somehow.
So by choosing this medium, a computer game, may I ask what were the challenges you faced, or was it actually even more helpful to convey the idea you wanted to put emphasis on?
Yeah, of course. And it was a challenge to film this film there. It kind of, it has many things are easier if you work with computer games. So you don't need a camera, you don't need all this equipment. You can use the soundscape and all the scenery that it's already there. So this is easier, but it has other things that are more complicated. So in this game especially, it's not possible to have to play this on a private server, which means that the only possibility to use this game and to film it is by using public servers. So every time we were shooting some scenes in the film, there were other people actually playing this game and trying to shoot us. So it was not easy because you cannot just go to these places. Usually you have to wait till this part of the map is revealed, and then the match can be over, one party can win, then you have to, like, the scene is over, you have to go again into some scenes are very, very difficult, like this one shot that you see in the beginning of the film where there is one guy standing on the cliff and there's a plane that comes basically over this deserter, we had, I don't know, we filmed this so often because it's so difficult because
not the plane.
Yeah, the plane always got shot. Like it's the same. Like we had so many scenes in which we are like, there is a friend of us sitting and piloting this plane, and he always is followed by a flock or a swarm of other planes who want to get this exactly. And it's also like when we shot a scene, we got shot every time. We got shot many times. So like shortly before the scene would have been perfect, somebody died, or this is the problem. If you do make films in a shooter game, you get killed until 50 times until a scene.
I don't know how often we died. It's uncountable.
but it's okay. I mean, our film didn't cost that much money. Other film costs many hundred thousands or millions of euros. So it's I would rather commit to making a film in a video game.
Well, when I was watching it, I was keep thinking about this. How many times did they had to shoot this angle? Because I was thinking that it's a multiplayer online game, so I was sure that people were keep shooting at you, and then you had to reboot and restart the game again. So this is very relieving for my curiosity that it took you some time, but you played again in the meantime.
Yeah. I mean, it's like in a film set. Sometimes you have days in which you try and nothing really satisfies. So we had those days too. I mean, it's a film set basically with challenges.
Yeah.
And what also was, of course, very interesting for us were these, there are some scenes where we actually intervene with other people that are playing the game. I don't know if you see it, if you know how multiplayer online games work, you see it, otherwise maybe you don't get it. But there are some scenes where there are other players being filmed, people that just want to play, and we try to pacify these moments. So we annoy them and we try to keep them from fighting. And also that we did for hours, annoying other players and trying to convince them that they should put down their weapons, and like we tried whatever is possible. And that was so interesting, because sometimes, of course, they get angry because, of course, you don't get what is happening, and there's some stupid people, and well, what are they doing, idiots? But sometimes also it happened that people just joined us, and they just helped us with the performances, and then they just joined our team basically. So that sometimes you see that there are more people joining, and that just happened. Without planning. It's difficult to communicate with other people, difficult to explain what you're doing, so basically you surprise them, which was interesting for us.
So to go back to your first question, is how we came up, or a second, with this idea. Everything what you do outside of following the intended gameplay, the path which the game does want you to follow, is somehow pacifistic. So it's pacifist action that you try to do something else than to shoot somebody. This is particular in such games. So you can't get rid of your weapons and so on. You all have it in the film itself. So out of just experimenting alternative gameplay or alternative choreographies, it was very obvious that this is a pacifist doing. So we have to deal with the topic of pacifism itself. And then, of course, pacifism within a war is desertion per se. So this was one of the lines.
So your collective name is Total Refusal, and as the collective, you shot another movie before called Operation Jane Walk, and there as well you chose a medium as a computer game. And by comparing these two films, I feel like you like to refuse to play the game as its intended way, but instead rebel against it in a hilarious but also a very critical way. By looking from this perspective, I think that you also enable the spectators and game players to think about from another angle and push the boundaries as well. So my question to you is, the next time game players playing these games, what would you like them to think about?
I mean, we learn a lot from the gamers themselves. The gaming community is full of, let's say, nastiness, or they're really they love to break the gameplay. They love to break the rules, and film it, find some loopholes, put it on Vimeo or on Twitch. So they invent different kind of mechanics, or put some modifications, some mods on top of the game. So this is very inspiring. What we want, like, is to also give something back, which brings us into a dilemma, because our film mostly is seen here in a non-gaming area, which is film festivals or museums. So we are trying to reach out also to the community, and to like have this back and forth ping pong of inspiration, also to trigger some disobedience. And this is when it comes to politics, this is very important for us, because disobedience outside of the gameplay mechanics is a mighty tool in order for a democracy, in order for pacifist movements, in order to work for even like women rights movements. So like the mass desertion of the First World War was forcing the powers of ending the war. It was not the defeat of the Axis powers. It was actually the mass desertion and the self-organization of workers in the cities and also soldiers. So this led to democracy and the end of this. So this is the power we see in disobedience too. Yeah.
But what we do like, what we think a lot about is these somehow hidden mechanics or hidden ideology that video games operate with, because of course they are really good in giving you the impression that you are free and that you can do whatever you like and that you can play this game and you have so many options to do, you can whatever. But in fact, they really channel you in a certain way and in a certain way how to play games. So of course, this is something that you often don't quite consciously realize, that how you are actually channeled and how absurd this whole situation somehow is if you like look at from the outside. That you kind of play a game, but you reenact a war which is totally depoliticized, like the Second World War. This is so absurd. Or that you play a war which can never be over because it's not the aim of this thing that it would ever be over. So like there's some things that are somehow interesting to think about. So to think about the borders or about the mechanisms that motivate you in such an area. This is something we like. If people think about this more, I think I would appreciate.
I mean, I think your film is like an academic paper, but put in a modern era way that's very intriguing for any kind of generation. And I think you're paving a path to some future works in this context. Shall we wait and expect more of these kind of films from you guys?
Of course, like Total Refusal becomes a factory right now. We're an open collective. We're inviting other people to collaborate, or now we enhanced our collective with 3 other persons, and in which we are working simultaneously on new projects and one huge new film, and smaller ones. And we are not just an media guerrilla. We are also releasing papers. We are doing research. Like a lot of the research we done was then filtered into the game, into the film, and also like the other way around. We learn a lot by experimenting, and this media guerrilla, or this Total Refusal, is pseudo-Marxist media guerrilla also like tries to give some information, or to trigger people to read our articles and let's filter and filters our heroism into papers.
Yeah.
To find the point.
But in fact, yeah, we're just working on a longer feature length project now that is will be working with the game Tom Clancy's The Division 2, which plays in Washington, D.C. So we will use this space as a scenery for a kind of lecture ballet. So it will be kind of a dance movie, but we will also it will also be a lecture. So like that's kind of the thing we're trying now to use this game for even more interaction between the avatars and the game world, and by that telling the story of capitalism and democracy and this kind of difficult marriage between these two concepts. So yeah, this is what we're working on at the moment and are fighting with.
Do we have the name for this feature film?
Yeah, it's called Money is a Form of Speech.
Cool.
But we will see if this is the final name. I'm not even sure, but that's the working title. Yeah, we're still in the beginning. It will take some time, but we have we're working on it.
Wish you luck on the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for your time. You have an amazing film, How to Disappear, which you can still watch it on our website, ushakfilmfest.com. And I also encourage people to watch your other film, Operation Jane Walk. It's another great film. Is there anything you would like to add?
Teşekkür ederim.
Wow, amazing.
Thanks a lot. It's a pleasure.
Thanks to you, Robin and Leonhard, and please send my regards to Michael. We hope to welcome you another time physically to Istanbul or Uşak.
We would love to. Congratulations for your expansion too.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.